problem with some people with erythritol is if you've taken too much of it, because it technically is kind of like fiber, the gut bacteria could ferment it. And that's why a lot of people, when they take, especially sorbitol and xylitol, maltol, you can get really bad gas from that. I mean, people know what I'm talking about. You eat too many of these, like, cookies or things that are sweetened with the sugar alcohols, and you're just blowing, methane gas right out of your butt. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
RX Television, RXMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. Whatever you have lined up, bodybuilding, non-bodybuilding, it is all on the table. The first two questions on this show, of course, from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. We will later take questions from our RX Muscle Instagram feed. First question, again, from the Dave Palumbo Experience app, is erythritol okay on the keto diet for someone who's not competing but looking to lose significant body fat? Should it be seen as a carb, partially a carb, or not as a carb at all?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I know a lot of people are confused about the sugar alcohols, okay, are not sugar, okay, and they're not alcohol, but they're a different type of compound. Theoretically, they're a carbohydrate, but most of the sugar alcohols don't get absorbed, okay, into the body. To a certain degree, a certain percentage of them do, but erythritol supposedly has very little absorption. The problem with some people with erythritol is if you've taken too much of it, because it technically is kind of like fiber, the gut bacteria could ferment it. And that's why a lot of people, when they take, especially sorbitol and xylitol, maltol, you can get really bad gas from that. I mean, people know what I'm talking about. You eat too many of these, like, cookies or things that are sweetened with the sugar alcohols, and you're just blowing, methane gas right out of your butt. And that's because the gut bacteria are fermenting the stuff. So you're not absorbing it, but yet it's going into the colon, and then the colon bacteria are working on it. So a lot of times you have to limit how much you take in. Now, erythritol seems like it causes the least gut problems, at least in my case. I find that I can eat some erythritol. If I start getting too much in my diet, then I start getting like a little gassy from it. What I will tell you is that it doesn't seem to affect blood sugar, okay? Meaning that it's not raising blood sugar, which is good. Doesn't mean it's 0 calories. From what they're telling us, it's pretty close to 0. I would not risk using large amounts of it on a contest diet, okay? If something has a little bit in there as a sweetener, I'm not gonna have such a problem with it. Now, there was some research recently, which I don't actually believe, that is trying to link erythritol to like cancer, increased risk of cancer. And the study, I hate when they do these studies. This is what they do. They do these what's called retrospective studies, where they actually go back and they say, all these people had cancer. Let's see what they had in common. Let's look at their, lifestyle, where they live, what they eat on a regular basis, and test their blood levels of certain compounds. For some reason, they found that there was a higher incidence in people who took in a lot of erythritol, that they had cancer. So these cancer people had all that in common. So they all of a sudden surmised that, well, erythritol must cause cancer, which is not. That's not the case. It could just be that there was a lot of obese people, or people who don't take good care of themselves, who are trying to lose weight maybe, and they were eating erythritol-based products. And it could be, they were just unhealthy in general, and that's why they got cancer. There's no cause and effect. It's one study. I'm not really buying it, to be honest with you. I actually like the sweetener I really like the best is that monk fruit, Lohan Gu, I think it's called. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a non-caloric. It's like they find it. It's like a part of some fruit, some tropical fruit, and they just found that your body just doesn't recognize it and it doesn't absorb it, but it tastes very sweet. But it is very expensive. That's why a lot of people don't seem to use that. But like I said, to get back to the original question, I think some erythritol in the diet is not terrible. Even on a ketogenic diet, I wouldn't go crazy with it, though. I know my wife likes these Catalina Crunch. It's like a cereal that's sweetened with erythritol, and I could eat them. And I check my blood sugar after, and it doesn't go up at all. Doesn't mean it's not non-caloric, because there is plant protein in there. There is protein in there. So as far as, is it going to impact your blood sugars? Probably not. Is it caloric? Probably a little bit. Remember, there is no free calories.
Second question, actually, before I take the second question from the Dave Palumbo Experience app, I did want to appeal to the audience. We are still looking for a videographer. If you're in the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, we're going to be working on a cool project with Dave. It is going to be a paid gig for those wondering, but you need to be local because this is something that we do want to build out for the RX muscle end, for the species end. So again, if you're a videographer or know a videographer in the Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, hit us up, DM us on official _RX muscle, or email me directly. My email is Farouqui, FAROOQI17 @gmail.com. All right, second question again from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. This is a very good question because it's a very relevant question, one that I know you've had discussions on so many of our different formats. The biggest drug of concern health-wise that most major pros are using irresponsibly to say. So let's forget about major pros. Bodybuilders in general, is there a drug today that's being used irresponsibly that's causing health damage?
Well, the one of the only drugs I think that I don't ever recommend and don't give protocols out, and I do not endorse, is the use of DNP, dinitrophenol. A lot of people use that. There's some sites out there that sell it, for fat loss. Very dangerous because the effective dose of the drug is very close to the lethal dose of the drug, and that's why there's been problems with people, dying from the stuff. So I don't mess around with that. I tell people stay away from that. You can damage your liver with that stuff. Very dangerous. I don't know if a lot of people are really using it. So to answer the question, that's probably not something that's commonly seen. So more so, I think I see irresponsible use of diuretics, which bothers me, especially coming from coaches that should know better. They are giving 2 weeks, of diuretics, and then just these people will walking around like zombies. I don't understand why anyone would ever give a diuretic for more than 1 or 2 days. The most 1 day is usually way more than enough, but why anyone would do more than that, it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't take that long to get rid of fluid that a person would be holding. And if it did take longer than then the person is probably in heart failure, because a couple half of diazide should dry out anyone in 12 hours. So I don't know why people. So to me, that's probably the most irresponsible things that I see out there. Yeah, there are people that take way too many drugs dosage wise. There's idiots that take 5,000 milligrams of testosterone a week and do dumb things like that. But I mean, in the short run, that probably won't kill anyone. Might be bad in the long term, but no one's acutely dying because of that. But diuretics will kill you, and we've seen some deaths over the last couple of years from diuretics, directly linked to excessive use for extended periods of time, and totally avoidable deaths. And unfortunately, not that it's better if one sex versus another dies, but a lot of women had died from overuse of diuretics, which is weird because women, you don't usually see, women are not usually the statistics that we quote when we say, oh, can you believe who died yesterday? Because it's usually a man who's doing way too many drugs or something like that, or has done, long-term drug use to their body. You don't hear it from women, but, women are just as vulnerable, especially to these short, quick-acting compounds that can kill you in a second, essentially. So be very careful of diuretics. That's probably the most bothersome thing that I've seen. And there's so much education out there now. I don't know why anyone, even if you're a coach that was prescribing too many diuretics, why you wouldn't change your protocols, knowing that there were people that died, and maybe, you know what, it could happen to your people just as easily as it happened to this other person's people. You know what? Maybe you should readjust your diuretic protocol. You know what? Maybe take my secrets to becoming a diet guru course and learn the right way to administer diuretics and dehydrate people and dry them out, because excessive use of diuretics is not the answer. It's not necessary. And if you are still doing it or still employing that type of a protocol, it's very dangerous, and you're gonna regret it, because what's going to happen is someone's going to die and you're going to get sued as a coach, and it's not going to end well. Someone's going to go down as the sacrificial lamb, I'm telling you, and you don't want to be that person. That's very dangerous. I'll leave it at that.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, if you're not already following us there, official_RX Muscle. If you're new to the channel, we welcome you. We ask that you subscribe below. Hit the notification bell. You're not going to miss any of our show segments or updates. Everything that's going on, obviously, now over the course of the next few weeks in terms of the IFBB Pro schedule, our reactions, our previews, as things really start to heat up on the pro calendar. The Texas Pro Big Show coming up in a month, and that's what we're going to start. Andrew Jack has been a lot more open about posting, progress pictures and such. Hunter Labrada, obviously, unveiling sort of a new package over the course of the last couple of weeks. Dedrix wants to know, a month out, Hunter versus Andrew, how do you see it playing out as we stand 4 weeks out?
Yeah, that's a tough one to call. Andrew genetically is better than Hunter, which is saying a lot, because Hunter is really good genetically. I think that if Andrew brought up his legs enough to match that upper body, I don't think Hunter can beat him. However, Hunter's got really good legs, and if Andrew comes in with his legs a little too flat, a little too small, a little too sucked out, maybe Hunter could certainly beat him. Because he's got a complete package and a complete look, and he's balanced upper and lower body, probably better than Andrew. Andrew's just got a lot more wow factors going on. He's taller, he's wider. So I think the ball rests in Andrew's court. If Andrew brings it, at 100% and he's improved from what we saw at the Arnold, I don't think Hunter beats Andrew, but Hunter is very dangerous. And if he comes in at 100%, it's going to be a battle. The good thing for us fans and press alike is that we get to watch this and actually enjoy it and critique it and break it down. And, it adds a level, this is kind of like Olympia type stuff we're seeing. And there's been so many shows that we've seen over the last couple of weeks that were kind of, it wasn't that the competitors were bad. It was just, they were not deep lineups. They were kind of weak at the top. And so it's exciting to see finally some Olympia guys trying to requalify, and to see two guys going head to head like that. It's going to make it that much more exciting. The Dave Palumbo Experience app, I just want to mention before, is an app that I have available for people to subscribe to. It's $29 a month. You can get it at your Android store or your iTunes store. And, it's everything that I've ever written, everything that I've ever done video-wise in one place. All my protocols, my diets are in there. You can ask questions unlimited. It's in an open forum. So all the questions and all the answers are available to everyone to see. It's a learning experience. I do a Q&A video every single week on there that's exclusive to the app. And there's some great questions I answer every single week. And I don't think I've missed a single week in a couple of years since we've been doing it. So very, very good information source. It's like you got Dave Palumbo as your coach in your back pocket. We put up a workout every single week. It's an interactive app that's constantly changing and very dynamic. And I think you'll enjoy it. Check it out. Tell your friends about it. And let me know what your feedback is on that.
Let's go to Pietrov. You often reference about being at near 0% body fat. What do you attribute that to? He asked about your supplement protocol. Any supplements in particular, perhaps, that you attribute? How are you at almost 0% body fat?
Yeah, if I didn't take a single nutritional supplement, and I probably ate McDonald's all day long, and I probably would still have 0% body fat. It has nothing, because when I was off all drugs for like 7 years, essentially aside from a little HCG when I was trying to get my wife pregnant, when we had our kids. I mean, I looked exactly the same. I was a little smaller, but I looked pretty much the same. So I don't know why I don't have any body fat, to be honest with you. Because when I first started bodybuilding, I did have some body fat. Initially, I had to diet body fat off. And when I got to like 300 pounds, it seemed like it was, and the second half of my bodybuilding career, I wasn't trying to gain weight anymore. So I would go up to like 300, 290 and kind of hang out there. And then I would just diet down to like, 265 and 270 and compete, which was good, because the first 15 pounds is water anyway. So maybe I was walking around with, 8 to 10 pounds of body fat, which was nothing. Nowadays, I'm not gorging myself all day long with food. So I think my caloric requirement is just really high in my body because I have a fast metabolism. I think I just don't eat enough during the day. And it doesn't matter, and I don't have the appetite I used to have because my stomach is all shrunk up because I'm not, I was talking to Bartley Weaver about this, the Nathan's hot dog guy we've had on our show. He's also a classic physique pro.
Yeah.
And he said, you have to work to stretch the stomach. And I said, you're 100% right. Because when I first started bulking up, I couldn't eat as much food as I did. And then little by little, I increased the volume capacity of my stomach. Well, it works the opposite direction. If you don't eat a lot of food, and you guys who diet know this, your stomach shrinks. So you can't put as much volume in your stomach anymore. And so I think I'm eating a lot because I feel full, but my stomach is way smaller. So it can't hold as much volume. So I have a feeling I just don't eat enough food during the day. It would be interesting to see if I started like doing like 6, 7, 8 meals a day and really started, probably knowing my body, I would just gain muscle, but I might put a little body fat on. I don't know. I can't, there's nothing specific like, hey, I take this product. I'd love to try to sell you, more species products. It's because I take the species line of products that I'm this lean. I don't, I'm not a liar. So, I'm healthier because I take this line of products. It's more convenient because I get very high source of protein in my diet, with my products, but it's not what's making me super crazy ripped. And so, it could be a combination of being a long distance runner for, the years before I got into bodybuilding, having all that muscle and just having a genetically good metabolism in general. And you know what? If you ask my wife, she'll say because he eats clean all the time. I don't eat junk food. So I don't know. It's not like I don't eat cookies and cake and ice cream and stuff like that. Everything I pretty much eat is pretty rock solid, healthy, or at least I think it is. Yeah, I might have a chicken nugget here and there and a burger from McDonald's once in a while, but by and far, most of the food I eat is pretty healthy.
You almost broke the cardinal sin about you plugging your own products. How dare you?
God forbid I do that, right? So,
Palumbo!
on my own channel, nonetheless. Yeah.
Let's go to Ron Jackalone. Any training drug supplements you recommend to help heal nerve damage? I had a lot of reattachment surgery last November. My tricep is still extremely weak, mostly flaccid. It has gotten slightly better, but it's recovering extremely slow. Dave, it's funny because I think I can relate with this, and a lot of people can relate to this. Anyone that's into training, anyone that's researching any sort of training content on Instagram or TikTok, as an example, you do start to get a lot more, injury recovery, nerve, anything that has to do with recovery or protocols to help with stretching or this and that. Yeah. So you're starting to see a lot of this. It seems to be a lot more of a trending topic now. So anything to help with nerve damage.
Nerves have to regenerate. And they will regenerate, assuming they're not severed, which I'm assuming his are not. They probably were compressed, from the injury. There's probably still inflammation in the area that's pressing on the nerve, which is not allowing it to fire properly. Tricep reattachment surgery creates a lot of scar tissue too. So ART therapy is really good to break up a lot of that scar tissue. Obviously, stretching and icing, after you train, that area is important every single time you do it. Growth hormone helps with nerve regeneration. We know that. I wouldn't be surprised if BPC 157 would be very good. And we know it's regenerative in other capacities. I bet you would help with nerve and tissue regeneration in that area. Our good friends at TitanMedicalCenter.com sell that. Great stuff. And, getting enough vitamins, minerals, trace metals. Those are all components of connective tissue. Taking a good joint repair supplement that's going to help with replacement of the repair of the tendon, the ligaments in there, all the cartilage and connective tissue that was damaged. Very important. So, You can use our Arthrize. We make a great joint replacement and repair supplement. V-Mineralize is a great vitamin, mineral, trace metal, antioxidant formula. You have to do everything. Every modality put together is like a little 0.5% here, 0.5% there, 0.5% here, and they all add up. And at the end of the day, if you do that consistently over several months, you're going to see healing and regeneration occurring in that area. But you have to be patient. Nerves take a long time to heal. It's not like muscles. Muscles heal pretty quickly because there's a really good blood supply to them. Nerves, slow. Very slow. But like I said, if you did, as long as you didn't sever the nerve, which it sounds like you didn't, you just tore the muscle in the area. The nerve is just traumatized, and it's going to take some time. Some of that, if you ever seen those EMS machines they use, like a chiropractor, physical therapists, that works really well too, because it makes the muscle fire without you actually having to lift anything to do that. So it can also activate those nerves in there as well. So all those modalities together, and drink enough water. Drink enough fluids to flush toxins out of your body, because as you're repairing that area, there's going to be a lot of toxins and stuff that get broken down, and you want to make sure you flush that all out of your body. So it's like bodybuilding. You know, treat it like a contest prep. Hey, for the next 4 months, I'm going to focus on regenerating this nerve and getting this muscle back in tip-top shape, and I'm going to do every modality possible. Acupuncture is another really good modality, especially for nerves that are not firing properly. It can sometimes reset the electrical, conductivity in that area and the energy flow in that area. So I would try. So I did a lot of, believe it or not, I don't really talk about it that much. I probably should, but I did a lot of acupuncture back in the day when I would get injured, and I found it helped a lot.
Sneak in one more question. I'm on pre-K duties today, so full disclosure. JT Nunya, how important is carb timing on a cut? I eat all my carbs pre and post workout, or divided evenly throughout the day?
Say that one more time. It was too.
Yeah, no. How the importance of carb timing while on a cut?
This is the way I look at it. I don't think the timing is as important as it is spreading it out. So let's say on the diet that you're following, forget what diet it is. Let's say on whatever diet you're on or whatever diet your coach gave you, you have 200 grams of carbs for the day, or 150. Let's make it easy. 150 grams of carbs for the day. Okay. Rather than eating 75 grams with, your pre-workout meal and 75 grams post-workout meal, which we know is going to be way more than you need. Okay. And will probably cause an excessive amount of insulin release. Spread it out. Do 35 in the morning when you wake up, 35 before you train, 35 after you train, 35 at night, so that you can sleep at night, go to bed. It doesn't matter. In other words, if you're on a certain amount of carbs, it's probably predicated on the fact that there are less carbs than your body really needs for the day. So at the end of the day, you're going to have a net loss of carbs. So it's not like you're storing these things as fat. Your glycogen stores are probably empty anyway. So anything extra that you eat will get stored as glycogen. Your body doesn't store carbs as fat, okay, until the glycogen stores are already loaded up. So, more than likely, you're eating carbs so that you feel good during the day. If you only eat them twice a day and you put all those in there, while you're eating them, you're going to feel great. Maybe at your workout, you might feel great because you just ate a whole bunch of them in the morning. But the rest of the day, you're going to feel crappy because your brain's going to be like, where's the glucose? We want more. You only fed it to us twice today, and we've been going 6 hours, and we have nothing now. So spread out the carbs. That's my best suggestion.
That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. We did have one more question, but I'm going to answer this perhaps on another format. It's a question about my opinion on PEDs in sports before I joined RX Muscle compared to what I think about them now that I've been around bodybuilding. It is a very, very, very stark and contrasting world between the two when you consider steroids in and outside of the bodybuilding world.
Yep.
But for now, that's going to do it for this episode of Ask Dave. We ask you to subscribe below, hit the notification bell right now on the channel. All new episode of After Hours, and it got heated yesterday. You had Larry Pollock, maybe the most composed guy on planet Earth, actually going at people, going right at John Romano, going right at Greg Valentino. Popcorn galore yesterday on After Hours. And of course, all new episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. Dave and Chris Aceto breaking down the Vancouver Pro, Hassan Mustafa winning the show, going to the Olympia, the 2023 Olympia, and a bunch of other topics. Remembering Gustavo Badell, Mike Matarazzo, really packed episodes. So check all that out. And of course, tomorrow, all new episode of Iron Rage with Lee Priest. And then, of course, we have another episode of Iron Therapy with the Armin Adibi, part 2 of Armin Adibi on Iron Therapy, dropping this week. Again, on RX Muscle. Drop the hit the subscription, notification bell. If you like what you're watching, hit the like button, comment below. And as always, we appreciate all of your support. For Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.